Ladies and gentlemen, why is Raila Odinga keen on Major Walukhe's case?
Watu ambao walikuwa wameshtakiwa na mauaji sasa wanasamehewa. Wengine iko kesi ya mauaji bado iko active murder case, anapitisha na kuwa waziri. Wengine wanasema jamaa huyu kesi yake ilikuwa ile ya bilioni 12 aliyekuwa amewekewa tu zinaachiwa. Lakini kwa upande mwingine huku watu wetu wananyanyasa.
That is the question which is currently on my mind. And because personally I believe that in politics nothing happens out of mere coincidence. Everything in politics is normally designed to achieve specific political objectives. What is Raila Odinga's objective with this particular case of Major John Walukhe?
Mheshimiwa Walukhe, jimbo la Seresia, kesi yake ilikuwa ni kama civil case. Maana yake yeye walidai pesa na wakalipwa. Badala ya kusema hiyo pesa ulilipwa kwa njia ambayo si nzuri, irudisha, amewekwa ndani. Kesi yake inafufushwa, anawekwa ndani na amefungwa miaka 67. Wewe ni mtu miaka 60 tayari, kama kuweka Raila ndani kwa miaka 50. Ni fitina. Si fitina.
For those who've been following this channel, a few weeks ago, I did a video, and in that video, I explained how the late Jacob Joma lured Major John Walukhe and Grace Wakungu into a multi-million scandal, and of course, Major Walukhe has been fined 2 billion Kenya shillings or 62-year jail. From all indications, Major Walukhe is likely to spend the rest of his life in jail. But why is Raila Odinga keen on this particular case?
Unawacha Linturi, unawacha Gacha, unawacha yule mama mwingine huko, alafu Walukhe wanachukua wanaweka ndani miaka 67. Hiyo ni haki kweli? Hiyo ni haki kweli? Tunataka Walukhe apewe bond, alafu hiyo kesi baadaye itupuliwe mbali. Anakali kesi ya fitina.
The truth of the matter is that Major John Walukhe is a Jubilee Member of Parliament for Sisiria. Major John Walukhe initially got into Parliament via ODM party. And then when Wetangula joined ODM, he decided to go the other way. He won. And when Wetangula left Raila Odinga, again he joined Raila Odinga. But why would Raila Odinga insist on this particular case? Because Raila Odinga is a guy who is known for his reform credentials. Supporting Major John Walukhe in this particular case would mean eroding his gains in terms of reforms. But the biggest question is, what are the objectives which he wants to achieve by insisting that Major John Walukhe must be released? And I remember just the other day, Didmas Baraza responding, and just a few days ago, I remember so well, Didmas Baraza responding to Raila Amolo Odinga.
Walukhe perhaps was a victim of the Kamata Friday and has not been successful up until now, even at the fact that we saw him at some point in time supporting. And I mean, if you've had mercy for those ones that were coerced, why not for Walukhe in this case?
It's a very good question. One thing that I want to tell you, that when Walukhe was jailed, he was jailed under Uhuru Kenyatta's administration. We in Tangatanga at that time, we put together a battalion of lawyers. We put together resources and got him out on bond pending appeal. He was out. He went back to court, and after elections, the High Court again, maintained the sentence that was imposed on him, and then went back to prison. So the only way we can assist him is that we are also willing and ready. And we have already been commissioned our lawyers who are in court arguing so that they can be able to get moved to the Court of Appeal, appeal against the jail sentence, and we are also ready to put up resources to be able to get him bail and pay bail. But as you are aware, the judiciary is independent. The judiciary is not an annex of William Ruto's administration, and we have said that we want to professionalize all our government institutions, so we can not only assist our good friend John Walukhe through paying of the lawyers and putting up resources to be able to get him a bail.
But before we get into all those details, in case you're watching this channel for the first time, I want you to take a second or two, click the subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. And to the subscribers, I want to continue thanking you guys for your continued support, because without that support, this channel cannot be where it is now. Let us go back to the main issue. What do you think Raila Odinga is trying to achieve by getting involved in this particular Major John Walukhe case? I have only 3 or 4 reasons. Number one, Raila Odinga is targeting the judiciary. The judiciary in this country, as we speak, is dented. They don't have an image. And when William Ruto won the presidency, it's a known fact that those who are previously facing criminal cases, like Walukhe, had their cases withdrawn. So the question is, can judiciary be used to release Major John Walukhe again? Basically, Raila Odinga is putting judiciary in a fix. You release Walukhe, your image is tainted. You leave him, questions are being raised. So for me, I think the whole reason why Raila Odinga is insisting on this particular case of Major John Walukhe is because of the judiciary. Is still targeting the judiciary. Number two, the issue of selective justice. The truth of the matter is that Major Walukhe did not really steal anything. Jacob Juba led them into the case. And Grace Wakungu used her influence because she's the sister to the former vice president, Mudia Wuri, and they got the money wired into their accounts. So the only thing which ought to have been done was that the amount of money which they stole or which they allowed into their bank account ought to have been recovered from them. But the court is saying that not only that, I think normally there's a way the figures are calculated, so that each one of them were going to pay that fine. If you can't pay that fine, then jail. In this country, and even Raila Odinga alluded to it, people like Aisha Jumwa, who are facing active criminal cases, are actually cabinet ministers in the country. Rigathi Gachagua, who was facing 2 billion case scandal, is a deputy president of the Republic of Kenya. Why should you then subject Major Walukhe to a 67-year-old jail term? So basically, it's about selective justice, so that later on, this can be used as an example when other people will be targeted. So for me, I tend to think that Raila Odinga is trying to ensure that the issue of selective justice comes out very, very clearly. And number 3, in my view, is lawyer politics. Now, are lawyers being targeted by this Major Walukhe's case? I don't think so. But questions are now going to be asked. What are we doing about Major Walukhe and Grace Wakungu? Because these are our sons and daughters. The case is already determined in court. The 2 are in jail. But what can we do as a community? Kenya Kwanza will then try to go in his defense. Once that will happen, they'll go to their defense. Okay, we say, okay, this case is affecting us, Mudavadi organized. Because I think someone had challenged Mudavadi because he had 4 billion worth to just give 2 billion. Then Walukhe can come out. Then they can sort it out in another way. So the lawyer politics aspect of this particular case of Major Walukhe and Grace Wakungu is why Raila Odinga is piling pressure. So that later on, if this guy will be released, nobody will claim that Raila Odinga never talked about it. He already talked about it. And lastly, I think it's about the Bungoma senatorial by-election. Can this case of Major Walukhe become an issue during the by-election? If you ask me, there's a chance that it can actually be turned into a political issue, that the lawyers are being targeted. And you never know. It can just spread like bushfire. William Ruto will be under a lot of pressure to ensure that before the elections, the gentleman is released either on bond or cases being frustrated. So it's about the Bungoma. Major Walukhe is a member of parliament for Sisiria. Raila Odinga, because of the Bungoma senatorial election, I think has decided that even the Parliamentary Service Commission is going to be reserved for Walukhe. That's one of the most lucrative slots in Parliament, Parliamentary Service Commission. You remember there was even a contest about the PSC at the Senate when Okongo Morgan insisted that he had to be given that seat. So let us wait and see. But I also tend to think that Wetangula factor could also be the reason behind Raila Odinga raising this particular matter, because of the way Wetangula and Walukhe have been operating. They have never been on one side. In fact, if Wetangula had not joined Walukhe, I don't join Uhuru and Raila, with the way the two gentlemen have always operated. For example, if Walukhe had not, if Wetangula had not joined Ruto, rest assured, Major Walukhe would have remained in Kenya Kwanza. And probably with the win, he would not be inside. I don't know what you think, but for me, I read a lot of politics in Raila Odinga's insistence. I don't know what you think. That's my take. Thank you, guys, and may you have a good day. By the way, hatuna stima huku. I don't know whether you have electricity in your area. Maybe you could let me know, but there's no electricity where I am currently in Kisumu. Bye-bye.